Pinky perceived what the problem had been. She had chosen the wrong bloom. She eyed the new one that set her free from her limbo. Then she looked at the instrument that trapped her in that limbo, but also allowed her to access and exit this strange world of no talking ponies. If she wanted, she could go back to her own world, but there, she had run out of lives to destroy. Creepy Bloom's world of shadow beings had recently reached the same fate, and it started with two arrogant shadow mares who were the cause of Creepy Bloom's everyday misery. Unlike the original world of Equestria, there was no magic of friendship. The closest to friendship these shadow ponies had was being neutral to one another, but a majority of them had hearts as black as themselves. To Creepy Bloom, Demon Tiara and Sinister Spoon were prime examples. The three were half-grown, which bettered the reason to target the one with still no cutie mark. The other two often jeered in a sing-song, blank flank, like any other Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. But here, they were more ruthless than Pinky had ever seen. She had observed the trouble from afar with a thoughtful, wonder-struck grin upon her face. Demon and Sinister spat on Creepy Bloom as they passed her. It was hard for Pinky to tell whether it was the first or 100th time, but it made Creepy Bloom stop dead in her tracks. She shut her eyes as she overheard the all-too-familiar mocking laughter, her fury visibly coming to a boil. She trembled, breathing hard through her nostrils. Genuinely amused, Pinky watched more closely. The blank-flanked mare clenched her jaw and turned to face her two tormentors, who also turned when they sensed the brand new way she was responding. She kicked the dirt behind her with a single foreleg, right before rocketing towards them with a snarl. She whirled back at the last few deciseconds, striking Demon in the jaw with her back right hoof, and Sinister's side with her left. They were both sent airborne for a good moment. Their bodies skid across the soil as they groaned in pain and frustration. Creepy Bloom gave a triumphant snort and wiped the spit off her waist with her tail, before turning back to calmly resume to where she was headed before. She heard the two ponies behind her quickly get to their hooves, but she was late to react to those hooves galloping towards her. She emitted a choked grunt when she was tackled to the ground on her belly with no fair warning. She wasn't given the chance to get back the air that was knocked out of her. Before she knew it, a pearl necklace was tightly around her throat, squeezing it closed. Enraged that Creepy Bloom had finally decided to resort to violence, Sinister Spoon used her own accessory to do the same. Demon Tiara hunkered down closely to Creepy Bloom's level.
Do you not remember what happened to the other poverty-stricken blank flanks that pissed us off?
Creepy Bloom, of course, could not answer Demon.
Scary Lou's not a Pegasus anymore, not that she ever really was.
Demon continued.
Eerie Bell's more brain-dead than Darky Hooves. What exactly should we do with you?
Sinister Spoon tightened her grip on the necklace and pulled it back further.
I'm already on it.
Demon Tiara did not voice or show any disapproval of this. Instead, she cackled, watching what was surely Creepy Bloom's final struggles. In the span of 1 minute, every muscle slowly relaxed, and her head sagged against Sinister's weapon. Satisfied that her necklace withstood the pressure, Sinister Spoon untwined it from the neck of the motionless pony and placed it back around her own. She turned up her nose, swinging her braid behind her. Demon gave her a hoof bump. As soon as she was sure their backs were turned to her again, Creepy Bloom's eyelids snapped open in a deathly glare. She shakily stood up. Her stare did not break away from Demon and Sinister, until an otherworldly pony approached her. Creepy Bloom scanned her up and down, both intrigued and unsettled. This mare's body was not dark, but her eyes were.
Care to tell me how you survived that?
The distortion to her voice was not like the one Creepy Bloom's kind had. Creepy Bloom again glared daggers at the two rich earth mares that tried to take her life. They were yards away from her now.
Strength is no different in my family. I'm the one with the best lungs,
she replied, standing her ground in case Demon or Sinister decided to glance behind them to find that she was right back on her hooves.
You want to kill them?
Pinky stated.
More than I want my cutie mark.
Creepy Bloom growled.
Why not do it?
I don't know how. It's 2 against 1. I would need a plan.
Correction, it's 2 against 2. And as for that plan, I'm way ahead of you.
Creepy Bloom gave the newcomer a hopeful yet questioning look.
Who are you?
Pinky began to strut in a circle.
I used to be a cheery pony called Pinkie Pie. I could see more than any alicorn princess could. I always tried to find ways to explore what I could see.
And what was that?
Everything, my little pony. And now I can see more. I can do more. I can do everything.
Pinky flipped her sleek hair to the other side of her face, then continued.
I should be a lost and sad soul right now. I was killed by my so-called Princess of the Night. All I did was invite her to a party. Can you believe how horrible that is?
She nodded her head, gesturing for Creepy Bloom to follow her.
I'll tell you exactly how to fix this nasty no-good problem of yours.
Creepy Bloom trotted a foot ahead, staring at the older pony with increasing respect.
What about my cutie mark? That's the main reason this happens to me.
Pinky looked at her with a confident and supportive smirk.
I can already see your destiny.
The better Creepy Bloom gently pushed away the pink hoof that had the blade of a scalpel raised to the other.
Come now, Sourpuss, there's no need for that.
And there wasn't. Even with her moral compass torn apart like her innocence, Pinky knew there was no need for what she was just about to do. The reason why she felt like doing it at all could have been plain and simple. The dark magic that was formerly her nightmare moons was infecting her more. Since her change, Pinky had only sunk as low as to harm others. The thought of turning on herself was new as the realization that she had embarrassed herself in front of a pony she was not supposed to trust. A possible reason number 2. She lowered the scalpel when she came to realize that cutting away at her skin after her defeat would be that much more degrading. She was not going to ruin herself any further in any way, shape, or form.
There you go. Save that for the cupcakes.
The better Creepy Bloom drawled. She smiled in a manner that reassured Pinky that this new apprentice of hers was 20 times more trustworthy. The blood-red filly examined the desolate concrete room.
So I understand my counterpart betrayed you recently. It was more than just a betrayal.
Pinky bitterly pointed out.
It turns out her pinky promise was horse shit. Just a moment of weakness, I'm sure. We'll get her back on track, no problem. Besides, don't you have an experiment to finish?
The better Creepy Bloom handed Pinky a list. She levitated it like a unicorn somehow. Still without smiling, Pinky snorted.
What's there to list? Why try to be organized anymore when I don't know where we are? Seriously, what is this place?
And also still, with a grin Pinky found unexplainably amusing, the better Creepy Bloom wrapped a foreleg around Pinky's back.
Who gives a meals behind what this is? Ever thought about doing what you feel like without a plan?
Pinky squinted her eyes unsurely and tilted her head.
Of course, that's what I've been doing all along. At first, I was perfectly okay with this. Now I'm 68.21% okay with it. I'm getting the sense, or Pinky sense if you will, that this was a big mistake. A big, fat, convoluted mess. Because whatever or whoever let this happen thinks it's a big, fat, convoluted mess.
The better Creepy Bloom shrugged, blinking carelessly.
Well then, whatever or whoever let this happen is just gonna have to deal with it now.
She stood up from her haunches and, with a wag of her tail, prepared to head outside into the world of no ponies. Into a world that wasn't Equestria. Into a universe that had branched from a core universe much older than theirs. Into a somewhere that could barely take much more unnecessary, inconceivably dangerous tampering. Pinky followed behind her new apprentice, ignoring the gradually worsening pinchy feeling in all 4 knees.